Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Beard's Bush Bashing. Just got a quick little video here, quick little install if you will. I've decided I'm going to swap out my 40 litre sub tank for an 80 litre Brown Davis sub tank. So I thought, hey, why not film it? And you know, somebody out there needs a little bit of assistance removing their sub tank and putting one in. Hopefully this video can find you and provide some assistance. Making a video, what do you think? Right, so we'll just get out of the car and I'll show you what I've done so far. Right, under here, I'll zoom out a little bit. Here was where my fuel filter was mounted, had the little protective casing around it and all that sort of shit. So it was two 12mm bolts and three 10mm bolts, come right out. There, the mounting bolts for the fuel tank, there are two of them right there, as you can see, and one, that cheeky little bastard, was up there somewhere. Hope you can see it. So yeah, I've just removed this bolt here. The other two on the other side are loose. These two here. When the tank finishes draining into my jerry can, just going to get the jack under it, support the weight of the fuel tank, and we'll drop the fuel tank in, out. And put the new Brown Davis fuel tank in the car. All that being said, I'm going to sit for 20 minutes and let this tank dry. Right, it's been about maybe 10-15 minutes. Fuel tank's all drained. There was only maybe 5-10 litres left in it. Make sure to get it nice and low, make our life a little bit easier. So, I'm going to call Mackenzie over. Get her on the jack and I'll get under the car and we'll jack off this fuel tank, eh? Come on, get your over here. Come on. Alright, let's do this. Rightio, I started off by removing the last two bolts I had holding up the tank, and they were positioned at the rear. I would strongly suggest disconnecting any fuel lines and whatnot before you remove these bolts, and you do so by going through the carpet and the floor beneath the driver's side rear seat. There's a few bolts in there and a plate and whatnot. You can get it to the fuel lines with ease. I thought I would be able to just lower the tank down and reach my fat arm around, but no, that wasn't the case. As you can clearly see here, I've got myself in a bit of a predicament, trying to hold up the fuel tank while removing one or two hoses that I forgot. This is why I highly recommend going through the carpet and through the floor to the top of the fuel sender in the driver's side rear there. Makes your life a hell of a lot easier and you won't be piss farting around as much as I was. After a bit of struggling with some stubborn hoses, tank was finally on the ground and the new one was ready to go in. Righto, here we can clearly see the size difference between the old sub tank and the new sub tank. I'm going up from 40 litres to 80 litres. This will be the rear of the vehicle. That would be the front of the vehicle. It is said in the instructions that they recommend cleaning out the fuel tank with some of the fuel. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. I'll get that done and then we'll get to installing it. Fingers crossed goes in smoothly. Rightio, the fuel sender is now in the new tank and the new tank is all nice and clean. Everything's mounted up, sealed up, all Mickey Mouse. So we're ready to install it back in the vehicle. Now I had to get my father to help me with this because I'm just too uncoordinated and not strong enough to lift the tank up by myself. You can quite easily use the jack as I did bringing the original tank down, but I just thought, hey, what's wrong with an extra pair of hands, am I right? So we had to lift the front of the tank on first above a rail it was resting on, and then we used the jack and myself to push the arse end of the tank up towards the car. That way we can get some bolts in to hold it and plug all the lines in and do all that sort of fancy stuff when it was actually mounted in the car.
I think it would be worthwhile adding that my father and I actually struggled a hell of a lot installing this tank, and that's no fault to Brown Davis. It's no fault in the instructions we're following. It's my own fault. I removed some brackets at the rear of the original tank, you know, that helped mount it to the car, and I thought they were aftermarket. And those of you who have been assisting with me with this car up until this point will understand why I thought they were aftermarket, and why the previous owner may have added another piece of angle iron into the vehicle. But no, they were not. They were factory mounts. So we were struggling. The sub-tank, it seemed to not go high enough in the vehicle, and it actually started to foul on the handbrake assembly beneath the center of the car. Once we put those mounts back in, however, it went in like a piece of cake. So my advice to anyone watching this is leave those mounts in. It'll make your life a hell of a lot easier. I mean, you may want to change them with something else cool. Go ahead, do that. But don't do what I've done. Don't remove the lines as you're bringing the tank down, and B, do not remove the factory mounts that you think are aftermarket. That would probably be a great start, and you'll have a lot easier time than what myself and my father did during this install.